I was asked by one of my most dear and avid and tenacious meditators to talk about what's happening in the collective in terms of the injustices, the rage, the response to the rage. And so I did a long meditation this morning just to see what was coming to me. And the way that I want to talk about it is, listen, we are all going to have our own opinions and our own actions, okay, about how we want to navigate what's happening. And that includes COVID-19, and that includes the injustices that are happening to Black men and have always happened to Black men. We are going to have our own individual, unique responses to this, our own unique actions, our own unique thoughts and feelings about it. Okay? So we'll get to that. But what I'd like to do is to talk about it in the way that I talk about it with my meditators in dynamic meditation. And I think, and I'm hoping that this might be helpful, because it is my belief, Carl Jung used to think about this too, in that what is happening to us as individuals can be seen in the collective. And so I'm always tracking things that way. I'm tracking things from the outside in and inside out. For example, there's sometimes that I'll have a week of clients saying, I'm feeling so angry this week, and I can tell that there's something moving out in the collective. Okay? So it's like we're parts of the body, the belief that we're parts of the body. And so whatever we do inside of us is also impacting what we do outside of us. Okay? Whatever is happening inside, we will see outside. So that's the first way that I approach dynamic meditation. Peace begins with me, that whole saying, which, sometimes these sayings I can't understand until I live them. I have to live them, and so do you. Don't just follow teachers. Don't just follow your guru. Don't follow your therapist. Really experience whatever it is that you're learning about in your own skin, because that's where it matters the most, inside your own self, and then you can understand what's happening. Okay, so let's just get to what's happening in the collective right now. So we are in a time in evolution and in history of massive triggers. Okay, I was talking to someone last night about 1968. In 1968, it felt like that. It felt like a year of great tragedy and great change. 2020 is going to be a year that our generation and our children's generation is going to remember, because the triggers are so intense and they're coming right after another. Okay. So the way that in dynamic meditation that we work with triggers is to say thank you. Now, I've got a group of folks who are, I'm going to use the word again, tenacious, because it takes so much courage to go inside and say thank you to your triggers. And the reason why we say thank you to our triggers is because we're unconscious beings and we're always on automatic, we're always walking around on automatic, the triggers wake us up. And in dynamic meditation, I talk about the sleeping volcano. The sleeping volcano is when we are living unconsciously, we're not awake, and something will wake us up, okay? Whether it's a tragedy or something, a memory, a nightmare, an event. Okay. Now, we say thank you to the triggers because we go inside and we dig deep. And why do we do that? Because there has to be a reward. This is no fun. It is no fun to dig deep and navigate rage, hate, sadness, grief, panic. For some of my folks, it's really terrifying to navigate love, feelings of joy and excitement because of how it's been paired for them in their childhood. So it takes a lot of courage, but the thing is, this is the thing. It's not just courageous to go inside. It makes you more and more courageous to live. Because in life, what we truly fear is what we're going to feel. What am I going to feel if I fall in love? What am I going to feel if I have a child? What am I going to feel during that competition? What am I going to feel if I become public about whoever it is that I am? Okay, so going inside takes great, great, great courage, but it wakes us up to life. And then we begin to live life courageously because it's just not so scary anymore. Okay, so this is going to be a long video. Just prepare for it. But it's necessary because we need to take a pulse on what's happening, and we need to have tools, and we need to have a way of framing it and formatting it. Okay, so just take a seat, grab your coffee, or your tea, or your water. This is what we do with triggers. We say thank you. Step one, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. Now I know what's in there, okay? The other thing I tell my meditators, sit down. Sit down. That is the most powerful place you will be. I always say this in my meditations, sit down. Obviously, if you're having a panic attack, you can move. You can look at my other meditations about what to do when your body's getting flooded, okay? That's not what we're talking about today. When I say sit down, what I mean is go inside. Go inside first before you move into any physical action. The highest form of action is meditation. The highest form of action is meditation. Okay? Because meditation provides us with focus and attention. And so let's say you are going to move into action. Let's say you are going to make some phone calls. Let's say, okay, well then go in knowing exactly what you feel about it. Okay, so we talk about triggers, we say thank you to triggers, we go inside. Okay, this is the hardest step. We say yes. Okay, Dynamic Meditation's tagline is say yes. And all that means is we allow the feelings, being human, to have feelings. Okay, so when we're watching the injustices or when we're experiencing COVID-19, we just open up and we start saying yes to the rage, to the disgust, to the pain, to the grief, to the disappointment, to the fear of what's happening. Yes, yes, yes. You're on a little boat, you're navigating, okay? And you say, bring it on, bring on my rage, bring on my fear, but you're not moving into action yet, because you're just having it move through you. Why? What's the reward? The reward is that we are transmuting and we are alchemizing. So, as an individual, we move these very, very dense energies, because all feelings are an energy. All of them. We live in an energetic world, right? According to physics, everything is energy. Now, energy cannot be destroyed, but it can be transformed. So what we're doing with feelings, listen, whether it's your own personal trauma, whether it's your childhood wounds, whether it's your fear of abandonment, your own individual personal issues, to what's happening in the collective, which will always trigger your personal issues, right? The collective is personal. You move that incredibly dense energy that's lodged inside of you. You move it up, you alchemize it. It's like making carbon into crystal. Now, for some of you, this doesn't have to be spiritual at all. Some of you watching this have a spiritual inclination. Okay? And so, if you have a spiritual inclination, this is called surrendering. And surrendering doesn't mean defeat. It doesn't mean complacency. And it doesn't mean settling. It means that I open up and I allow these feelings, this energy to move from a very dense place up to become lighter. And in dynamic meditation, we do ask the question. We always measure. We say, does it feel lighter? And people answer, it feels lighter now. Because the energy becomes these little glittering molecules. Now hold on. Because some energies are intense. Now, I propose and I recommend that we do this together, because some things move through our bodies intensely. So let's talk about the body. One of the things that I always say is that we engage the Trinity, okay? And the Trinity is mind, body, spirit. Okay. In order to do this type of deep work, right? The mind gives us thoughts, opinions, beliefs. Okay? The spirit is what we can move it into. And the body feels it. And so what happens, for example, in post-traumatic stress disorder or in panic attacks or in generalized anxiety, is that it's only the body feeling it. And so we've got to do the work in therapy and meditation to bring it to all three. Okay? Because they're allies. The Trinity is allies. We need all three. We need that alliance to help us move through this. Okay? And I believe in the Trinity in the collective. The Trinity of the collective is me. I'm the individual. Right? Others. You in my group, you watching this, and the planet. We bring it all together. And so the reason to even do this video is to bring you in and bring the planet in, okay? Because it works better if there's a Trinity, mind, body, spirit. So we want to engage all three. And we want to feel into this. It's no fun. It's really uncomfortable. But we want to feel the human experience is part of this. We cannot dodge what's happening out there. We can't. And again, why are we doing it? And one thing I say to all my folks is, don't feel it for free. Don't feel this hard stuff for free. Don't feel it for free. Don't feel your rage. Don't feel your fear. Don't feel your deep sadness for free. Yeah, we want results. We want a reward. So the first result is the alchemization of these dense energies into lighter energies, right? And why do we do this? We do it to shift. When we do it individually is because we want a shift. We don't want to live the way we were living internally. We do want to be more joyful, more connected to ourselves, more peaceful, more authentic, and get this, more free. We need to live more freely. And the way to live freely, according to what I believe, is we master ourselves. We master ourselves first by feeling ourselves, by feeling our story. We feel our story, the whole thing. We master our story. And how do we do that? We're not afraid of what we feel. And then we begin to live more authentically and more freely. Period. And that is true for the collective. That's the exact process. We gotta feel what's happening. We have to feel it. Say yes, say yes. And I have meditations on this YouTube channel, right? About saying yes, because sit down first and say yes to sometimes the horror. The horror. Okay? But we do it. We look at the darkness inside ourselves and in the collective to shift it. We don't do it because we're just browsing the channels. No, that just adds to your trauma. As I tell people, do not emotionally molest yourselves. Don't watch things just to watch them, just to scare yourselves. Don't do that. Feel it. Feel it to transmute it, alchemize it. And that is the most courageous. That is where you're a real warrior. Warrior is when you decide that you're just not going to be afraid of what you feel anymore. Okay? And so that's what we're doing. In this now moment, we have to look around us and we have to sit down and say, I'm going to feel this rage because I need to shift it. Okay, so let's move into that. You've got a role in this. And it's any role you want. And don't let anybody else give you a role. It's any role you want. Any role you want. If after you do this work, this internal energy work, you decide what I'm going to do every morning is I'm going to meditate for the collective every morning, fine. If what you decide is to go out there, fine. You have a role, but you choose it. And the only way you are going to be your authentic chooser is by knowing what you feel clearly. Become the master of you. And then your internal voice will get very clear. Okay? But you're doing a double whammy. You're clearing out the dense energies inside of you and possibly the reactivation of your own stuff, of your own wounds, okay? But then you're also going to do it for the collective. Because really, peace does begin with you. Peace begins with me. Peace in my home. Trust me, if I'm not doing well, my house isn't doing well. If one of us in this home isn't doing well, we all feel it, right? Our energies are felt. And that's what I do on Monday nights, is I talk about how we are contagious through our energy, our anxiety dumps, our rage dumps, our fear dumps, our grief dumps, our trauma dumps, right? Generations of inherited trauma, even though we didn't live it ourselves. Okay, so I'm not going to get into that, but you could see where I was going. Okay, so we don't dodge it. We're not going to dodge what's happening. We cannot dodge what's happening. We cannot. Okay, and we cannot dodge what we're feeling. We can't look away. We got to look at it in order to shift it. We have to look at it. We have to feel it in order to shift it. And it's intense and it's hard. And then you can take up whatever it is, then your call to action. Whatever your call to action, for you individually, for you decide. But we can't dodge what's happening inside of us and outside of us. Okay? And we engage the Trinity. So mind, body, spirit. And dynamic is all about that. Okay? We ask questions. I'm looking at my notes because there's things I don't want to forget. So, the first thing you're going to do, why don't we do just a little bit right now, okay? Is we're going to allow. We're going to allow what's happening inside of us. And I want to remind you that every feeling has a texture. And some of this might just be grief, 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 grief. We'll cry it out. I always use the image in my groups of, the women at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. And talk about engaging the body. Engage the body. Rock back and forth. Wailing. Mothers wailing for their sons. Mothers. Wailing. I would wail. I would get on my knees and wail over my son. And the other thing I say in dynamic, when it comes to real feelings, panic, fear, it doesn't matter how silly we look. It doesn't matter. The body expresses our feelings and feels our feelings. And so if it means that we kneel on the ground and we rock back and forth and we cry it out, we do that. For you men, if it means that you're in the shower and you lean against the walls of the shower and you're crying, 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 do it. This is my call to action. If it means that you hug your children and you cry, see, that's making me feel. You do it. Because the other thing that happens with feelings is that we shame them. We shame others and we shame ourselves. And so a layer that has to be removed is shame over feelings. And so if it means that we curse as we're feeling and you're thinking of curse words and your fists are shaking, do it. Do it, because you're engaging the Trinity. You're having your thoughts, you're having your feelings, and your body. Okay? You're saying yes. And you're allowing it. So think of how powerful it is to take that energy that we're watching and going inside. And opening up, because this is what you would do. you would find your breath. The breath is our friend, is our home. And now, how about this during COVID-19? The breath is just the most, it is gold, it is diamonds, our breath. It is valuable that we can just breathe in, come home. And I always say come home because you're coming home to you. To you, beautiful you. Beautiful you. I love you. And come back to the breath some more. And the breath focuses us, and we come back to the center. And what we're saying to is yes to ourselves. And the way we do this, and some of you may need to time this, set a timer for 20 minutes or 10 or 5. Please set a timer, because some of these feelings might be very intense. So, and commit, please commit to stopping when the timer rings. You're going to open up the shoulders, and I want you to open up the hands, because you're going to really picture this gooey, dark, thick, dense energy, right? Breaking up, and leaving your body. To open up those hands. This is what you're going to do. You're going to navigate your feelings by saying yes to them. And then if you want to add to that, you're going to add, is this about wanting safety, wanting control, or wanting approval? Now, for some of us, it's all three. It's pretty loaded. But I want to remind you that wanting is a lacking feeling. And so we let go of that energy that's building inside of us, all with the purpose of shifting. And then it doesn't matter what we go out and do and what role we take or what action we follow. That's completely up to you. Go for it. Now, if you want to go into this deeper, right? Go to my meditations on saying yes. And go to the ones on safety, control, and approval. Remember, do the tool first. And then watch. Even right now, I already feel quiet with just that little bit that we did. I feel more quiet. So I'm going to remind you, whether it's individually and you're doing massive internal work on your trauma, or collectively, it's one and the same. You healing you heals your environment, heals your family. And then that just spreads out. Okay. It allows us to take up our internal strength and courage to do whatever it is we need to do on the outside. And yes, I hope this was helpful. I'm sure I'm going to have so much more that I'm going to be thinking about, but I wanted to get this one out really quickly and help you frame it. This is the human experience. Forever, historically. It's the human experience, but we need to navigate all of our human emotions to stay human. Okay, check it out. This is how I'm going to end this. What's happening out in the collective is that people aren't feeling. Yep, this is my wrap up. It's so powerful. Thank you. Yeah, people aren't feeling. And so they can't do the I am you and you are me, right? They're lacking compassion. Because if all of us deeply felt our own experience, then we could really feel the experience of another. Do you get this? That's the I am you and you are me principle. That is exactly what's not happening in the collective. People are not having their feelings, because if they did, if they were feeling their trauma, their pain, they're feeling less than, they're feeling more than, all of those feelings that we talk about in dynamic, all of them, they would be able to put themselves in other people's shoes. I'm telling you, having your feelings is the most powerful place you're ever going to be. Do not be afraid. Be courageous around this. And then we can really, really live into I am you and you are me. And then we automatically shift. We shift the individual. We shift the collective. We shift the planet. I'm going to leave it at that. And that was so, just felt it like a lightning bolt. Have your feelings. Have your feelings. You will emerge. You will ascend. Okay, I'm thinking about you.